We are Brightside Home Theater.
Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast. The Home Theater Podcast, it's all about the experiences, the sights, the sounds,
the scenes.
Filling in double duty for John today is me.
Understudy.
Literally, I'm the understudy.
Yes.
We got dual camera angles going here.
Production values, that's what that is.
Oh, yeah, big time. Big time sneak peek at, like, you can see under my chins. It's pretty funny. That's, yeah. I just thought of that while we were waiting for the open to go. I'm like, oh, John's not here yet. And I'm like, oh, we usually have 3. There we go. So we'll pull that down. Yeah, that's actually, I don't know which one I...
Oh, you've gone quiet, Deej. You've gone to your muted version.
Oh, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
you're
now I got to
on
get
that
us
one.
back to normal here. We're going around the room. And now, there we go. Get rid of that. There we go. We're back to normal.
Cloned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Having some fun with tech on the fly. Always a good sign.
Yes.
So how was your week?
Yeah, good. Yeah, not bad. I'm getting over this damn cold slowly but surely. So there may be some coughing during this, and you can hear it still in my voice. Well, yeah. So it's it's better than it was. Thank goodness. I can at least sleep again now. So yay. And I've got a new background. Check out the background. You may have seen it before. Yes.
Framed.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, all framed, ready to go. You got to get a little tripod thing that I got. They have on Amazon
a little stand.
It's a little stand, and you can move it around and stuff. Put it behind you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, just to keep continuity. Keep moving it during little bits.
Yeah, exactly.
Confusing everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a great week. Loads of good content and stuff coming out. I don't know whether we're beginning the holidays rush, but my goodness me, there are discs and movies just coming out hand over fist. It's crazy.
Same here. It's like I'll talk a little bit about it when we get going, but I grabbed a disc today, the physical media, the physical version of Loki. I got 2 surprises on Kaleidoscape that I wasn't expecting today. And like you said, it's like we're not doing the 4K releases anymore, but now I'm like, holy crap. I went and looked. I was like, look at all the stuff that's coming. It's like, it's just, we're getting inundated. And I did hear, did you talk to Carl at all? He did hear good news about the writer's strike. Like there's progress, right?
Yes, the writer's strike is over, essentially. Bar the shouting.
I haven't heard that.
But it's not. But nothing can really kick in properly until the actors' strike goes, which hopefully is going to be this weekend. So it's a kind of domino effect. Because I haven't spoken to Carl, but I was speaking to someone else who we know, who of course is kind of spinning his wheels at the moment. And I was texting him today. He and I were texting quite a bit today. And he was saying, and I'm like, right, you all go, you back to work, and he's like, nope, not until the actors go back. Until then, we can't move. So, but hopefully this weekend, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But great news for Carl and everyone else that's involved in the industry. It's been since May. There's not many of us, I think, that could go without an income from, May till September and not be in quite dire straits, really. Not the band. So it's, I think, it's good to hear, and it's a, really positive thing. So hopefully now there's going to be a lag now, whatever happens, there'll be a lag of about 6 months. So summer, the next year's kind of silly season won't really start, I suspect, till June, July, August, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, I was thinking more network stuff, there'll be a lag, but other things that were just literally shut down, it would be they just start right back where they were in May, and then they'll come back. So that you have that lag, which is, is that almost 6 months? It's probably 4 months.
Yeah,
at least,
June,
4 or
July,
5.
August, September, so 5 months. It's and by the time you then get everybody back in the place where they need to be again to then start it, because people will be all over the world, you're going to be looking at probably another 2-3 weeks before you can hit go. Push play.
But as like what all we talk about are the experiences, it's not like you just said, like we were saying, it's not like we're hurting from our side. I mean, I know that people need to get back to work and stuff, but I don't even think we will be. It's like some movies will have been delayed, it's like, I mean, Dune got delayed. I'm pretty disappointed about that, but I mean, week after week, we sit here and go, I can't take it all in. Right. And so it's like, I mean, it's just, it's embarrassment of riches on our side. Right. And so.
And I am aware of some physical media releases that are going to have theatrical releases coming up in the new year as well. So they have got plans afoot to fill that gap with stuff that we've been wanting to see on the big screen. So they've got, they've got contingency plans.
Sounds fun.
Some good stuff coming. Yeah, so that'll be cool. Not for us. I mean, obviously we've seen it in our cinemas. Yeah, but for the normies,
for the normies,
they'll get to see it, in the theater
in the proper way. So Let's say hi to some people in the chat. We have Jordan, we have Mike, Stephen Mikey Schramm. Mikey Schramm was the first winner of, I did a little Patreon thing yesterday, the day before, maybe it was yesterday. I did a little Patreon thing. I found that you can do, you can't do raffles over there because they're, they pay to be there. So you can't do a raffle. That's not fair, but you can do a competition. So I was like, all right. So I was like, first person 2. And then I put out give me a timestamp on what happened. And Mikey Schramm was the first one. And I had a few other people. Danny Speakers, his first reply was effing Mike. Because he saw that he went on to do it. He was like, damn it. So that was pretty cool. But Mikey won that. So I already sent him out his sweatshirt. So if you're in Patreon, pay attention there because next one's going to be a hat. I should have done that yesterday, but next one's going to be a hat. Stephen, Jordan in the chat, Van Gool, Carl's in there, Kay, Paul Hurt. Thank you guys. Hi everybody. Hope everybody's having fun. What's it, Van Gool? Could we see some more physical releases on older movies coming? And I'm like, I'm hoping they're looking to do that. And then Paul Hurt says the strikes don't seem to have brought the release of The Abyss forward. Yeah, it's funny, Paul. I was thinking the same thing today, like literally today. I was like, here we are coming up on October, and we were supposed to be getting True Lies and The Abyss in like March. They were saying like a year ago. And here we still are, and Steve's got a big smile on his face.
Oh, that's not for anything sort of surreptitious. It's only because it's just a case of here we are again. Until you hold those discs. Yeah. Careful how I say it. Until you hold the discs in your hand, then it means it means nothing. It's so many times. How many times have we been here? On Blu-ray, 4K, and bear in mind, I've already got True Lies on Blu-ray, but it's just again and again and again and again, there's so much stuff coming out. Here's the real worry, guys. What happens if you get The Abyss and you don't think it's all that good? Because you haven't seen it for such a long time. That's my real worry.
I've seen it a few times, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good, and it's one of those movies that, I don't know. Let me see. I'm going to try something here. I forgot to hit record at the beginning. We are streaming, so that's fine. We're fine there. But I am trying to improve our audio, so hopefully nothing goes haywire here. But let's see what happens when I hit record. All right, we're recording. Exactly. No, I'm not kidding you. It took me a couple days to figure it out. My Rodecaster, I got the Rodecaster Pro 2 here. When I hit it the other day, I had to do some trial stuff. It was going, boom, it would it would shut that down. So, okay.
Oh,
so
right.
we're streaming here. We're doing good. Everything's good. I will add this in the show. You will hear the difference in Friday's show. So we'll get to compare and see if it cleans up the audio a little bit. I'm working hard at doing that. So hopefully our audio levels should be good this week. I apologize for that. Oh, and I also have to apologize. Today's Takeover Tuesday. I just replied to Mark V. He emailed me telling me it's not out there, and I was like, I know. I put out a tweet this morning. He's usually pretty good on Twitter too, so he knows that stuff. And Paul says, "Sound is great today, DJ." Oh, thanks, Steve. Thank you. I'm working. We did some pre-show stuff. I found a way to check my audio levels a little bit better so I can hear it. But anyways, yeah. So. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So the Nerdy Legion is down, the network that I use. Okay. And Martin has done a great job for years. This show has exclusively been on the Nerdy Legion. I started there. They welcomed John and I in August of 2019. We had been podcasting almost a year at the time, and they brought us in. And Martin Ferretti, who runs it, he does a great job. But it's like his own thing, right? So it gets wonky at times and has some issues, but it's free. Okay. I've shopped around and I talked to Ara. What do they use? I talked to some other people. What do they use? For me to run this podcast on anything but the Nerdy Legion, I'm looking at $50 to $60 a month because of the amount of content we put out a week. And so I'd have to get such a high tier to allow me to have that bandwidth and that amount of memory, and it's like if you do an hour a week, get this one. Oh, well, I can't do an hour a show.
Yes, I was going to say.
You know, like an hour.
Takes an hour to say hello.
I know. So Martin, I will probably eventually end up, we're going to have to, because I feel bad bothering Martin every time this happens. And I went to download it yesterday morning and I was like, all right, everything's ready. Upload it to the Nerdy Legion. And I was like, oh, Martin, it's down again. And he's away on vacation. He didn't bring his laptop. So he's like, he's not home till Friday. So this show might not even go out audio-wise on time until he gets back, but it'll all be there. But for everybody listening, you can always go to the website, brightsidehometheater.com, and there's an MP3 link in every single show. That's literally the first thing I do is I get that, and then I take that, and then I copy the notes from that and I put it into Nerdy Legion, and then it goes out there as well. So if ever in doubt, just go to brightsidehometheater.com and the latest episode, you scroll down past the popcorn, you scroll down, click on it, and it'll have the MP3 sitting right there, and you'll be good to go. And hopefully everybody got a chance to hear today's Takeover Tuesday. There's a couple of rants in there. It's all listener comment stuff. Did you hear it at all, Steve?
No, I haven't. No, I need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I will locate it.
There's a couple of rants in there, a couple of defenses of Kaleidoscape because of people like, well, not people. I mean, they're legit. It's expensive, but they say a couple things in my notes. So I put it, I reply to it. Let's see, DJ, that is why you should always watch live and enjoy it on Tuesday. And watch what? Us?
Yes, that's what he means. Yeah, that's what he means.
Well,
yeah.
No, I mean, Van Gould, that's exactly what we did. It's like I have this running here, and it's like I said, it's like I bring this up. So this is how I do my notes from here, right? So I got my iPad, my Mac going. That's what you're looking at right here. I got that going, and then so before we started the show, I put the earphones on and I listened to myself through the Mac with the different headphones, and I was like, got our levels right. And so, hey, got to trick the system, but yeah, so, but yeah, all right. Glad everybody's enjoying the levels, the audio levels. It is important to us. I mean, we are a home theater podcast that's about the experiences, and if everybody's going, DJ, you sound too loud, that's not a good experience. So all right, let's get to we first off, to get to this. Thank you. We got a new Patreon supporter this week, new patron, Gurinder. Gurinder joined Patreon today, the other day. So thank you. You'll be in all the new messages. I try to do a message to them every day. It's pretty quick. They give you 2 minutes. You can do a 2-minute video, boom, 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 out. And I try to do something every day over there to say thank you to the Patreon supporters. And just to keep it fun because, and to hopefully encourage people to go over there because things are getting expensive in the podcast world. So I really appreciate it if you can go over there and, and then we do our donations. 50% goes out. And hopefully when we get up high enough, I can actually get the podcast covered and be able to do the donations. And, that would be really cool. So thank you to everybody that's already over there. And if anybody wants to go over there, just go to patreon.com/Brightside Home Theater. And that would be great. Also, you can buy us boxes of popcorn, as I said earlier, on the website. Just a one-time donation. So that's pretty quick and easy, but that's on the website. So let's see. John's got to be dying right now. It's like, DJ's literally talking about this stuff. Let's see. Oh, and you know what else we got to do? And it's funny. This was a question. Typically, you have to pay to get up here, to get put to the front of the show. But I think this actually, it's such a great suggestion. I mentioned it in Takeover Tuesday today. And it was on Twitter, and it was Miguel Munoz 1713 says, you need to mention more your speaker layout, brands, etc. more often for the new subscribers. And it's a great point. And I mentioned it in the Takeover Tuesday that came out today. And I had an idea, and I was going to run it by you guys, but John's not here, so I'll run it by Steve. Instead of every week, each of us going, I've got this and I've got this, I was thinking we could do a rotation, and like every week it'd be like, before you do your first movie, right? You say, I'm running this system. And then at the end you'd say, and next week you'll hear about John's, but I watched this. And then we go on with the show. And that way it keeps it fresh and people can always find a way. And I should also add a link on the website of all of our systems. And I mean, yours is there.
Yeah. So's John's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're all that I don't know if I did mine. Mine's on YouTube, but that one's so outdated. It was 2 years ago. If not more. Might have been 3 years ago.
Well, mine's on YouTube as well, but that's through home theater tours.
Yeah.
So it's all there.
So, but yeah. So,
okay. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. I mean, we've got to, Kevin Smith usually says that it's always someone's first podcast.
Yeah.
So I suppose we should take the time to acknowledge that even if they're not in the chat, doesn't mean they're not going to watch it, not listening,
right.
and not here for the first time. So, yeah, we can do that. That's fine. I want to take a couple of minutes.
Yeah. I thought that would be good. And I was thinking actually this week we could probably do all of us, but John's not even here. So, and I didn't even make my notes for this week, but I can do mine really quick. Do you want to get going to we'll get to the home theater experiences and we can, we'll get into it. And then when John shows up, it'll be all sorts of fun. All right, here we go. All right. I'll go first, and off the top of my head, what I am running is I have the Sony 295 4K projector, VW 295, whatever that is. And in front of that, I have a Lumigen. It was a 4242, but I upgraded to the new, I think it's 52 something. It's the lower of the new models doing the processing. For the video processing. And then I have a Marantz 70, is it 7066, 76, something like that. Marantz processor 706. See what happens off the top of my head? I get all nervous. So I'm running the Marantz processor, and then I have for amplifiers, I have an Emotiva 5-channel second generation. What's that? The XPA? Something like that. XPA Generation 2. And then I have a Bass X 6-channel running all the overheads. So the 5 channels are the 5 main bed layer, and then the overheads and the rear channels are all run by the Bass X. And then I have a Kaleidoscape Terra 12 for most of my movie sources. I have a Panasonic 820 for my Blu-ray collections and my 4K collection. I also have a Zapiti that has most of my Blu-ray collection downloaded too. Let's see what else. Oh, my speakers. I'm running SVS Ultra across the front bookshelves, left and right bookshelves, Ultra Center, and SVS Prime bookshelves around the room, the 4, for your side channels, and then your rear channels, and then your overheads are like an 8-inch what are they? Panasonic. I forget the brand number, but they have 4 overheads from Panasonic, and also a Harmony remote for the room with Hue lighting. So if you really want to get into all that, but yeah, so that's what I'm running for my room. And my first experience I'd like to talk about this week is, I don't know, did I even take the picture? I think I did. Did I put the picture in the show notes of that? I don't think I did I?
Which one?
Sandman.
I think you might. Yeah, I'm not sure you did actually.
Yeah,
I think you put a picture up on Twitter, but I don't think you put it in the notes.
Yeah, that's too bad. But yeah, so the Sandman 4K HDR DTS Master Audio, no Atmos. But the disc that's coming out, I believe it's in November. The disc that's coming out does have the Atmos. On Kaleidoscape, this was on Kaleidoscape. It dropped on Kaleidoscape last week. It looks and sounds phenomenal. I did a lot of comparisons. Episode 1 at the 4-minute mark, went back and forth, and you look at what's interesting when you do comparisons like this, and I can do a pretty quick comparison just by switching back from input to input, and the way I like all my switching is done with the Lumagen. So I just go boom, and everything, it's pretty quick. So I can get a pretty good comparison. And what's funny is when you'd think your projector can't get brighter and stuff, but what it is it's when you're running an HDR, a good HDR without compression, you can get a better gradation to that bright light. So everything, the contrast is so much better. Black is black. You can only get so dark, right? Your projector can't get darker than its lowest dark level. So that's going to stay. But how do you make that brightest bright look brighter? And it's how you do that is your gradation over to it. If it's a sharper slope, right? So like you have a bright light, like a lightsaber, right? If you have a lightsaber and the middle line on that lightsaber is super bright and then it grades out a lot nicer in HDR, it'll feel like that's a little bit brighter, and you'll have a better gradation, better saturation, more vibrant colors because of the gradation of the black level underneath, right? When you have some compression going on or you're doing it through streaming, that middle color might be the same brightness, like if you actually looked at it, because your bulb can't get any brighter, it can't get any darker. It's the same bulb in both situations. It's how do they draw it? Like, and I know this stuff from art, from going to school for this, right? I'm given a piece of paper. What can I do with that piece of paper or that canvas? And there are tricks, and we've all seen the optical illusions of, I can make this little dot look a lot brighter over here. It's still the same piece of paper. You can't get whiter than the white piece of paper, right? But all of a sudden I can make that dot, but with how I draw around it, go, oh my God, that's so bright. No, it's not. I bring everything else dark around it, but then you do have to put a halo around it to give yourself that effect that it's actually blooming and stuff. And that's what HDR does for us. And with the Sandman, it's just like every time I do these comparisons, it just looks so good. And it's that gradation that makes the big difference. And episode 3 had an awesome opening. Just push play, 3 to 4 minutes. The bass is amazing. The picture is amazing. Everything is, I don't want to spoil stuff for people. If you haven't seen this, and when I mentioned it on Twitter, Todd hadn't seen it. He'd never heard of it. So some people had never seen it. Some people had never heard of it. Wait, get the disc, because as good as the stream is, you okay over there, Steve? Because you muted yourself and then you look like you're about to clench your chest and fall over.
No, I'm all good. No, it's just a coughing fit.
I couldn't let that go because you're like,
yeah. I've chosen the wrong drink. See, normally lubricates my throat. It's drying it at the moment.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Caffeine will do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you haven't seen The Sandman on Netflix yet, wait. If you've waited this long, wait and grab the 4K disc. The 4K disc is slated to be $49.99. I know that's steep, but it's still, 8 episodes, very, very good. Artistically done. Somebody did mention on Twitter that it seemed hazy in the stream. That's an effect they're going for. You're still going to get that, but it just looks gorgeous. Gorgeous. Episode 4, again, I was almost going to spoil it for you. But episode 4, they go to a certain place and the costumes look awesome. It's just an awesome show. I'm almost done with it. I got 2 episodes left, and just such a really good show. I can't believe I forgot the graphic for it. It's probably because I've been so busy watching it. Every morning I get up, I'll watch an episode. I watched 1 episode twice. That was the 4th episode. But yeah, highly, highly recommend it. 4K and the DTS Master Audio. I know it's going to be $50, but I want to compare it. I have a couple other things coming up in this show where I really, really feel like our processing is giving us Atmos, or object-based, because this DTS Master Audio, it is phenomenal. That's why I almost didn't mention it. It almost goes without saying now, when you go from the stream to the physical release, that's not even close. It's just so dynamic. It's so deep. It's so good. Have you seen this at all, Steve? Did you see the same?
I've seen the first episode and was enjoying it. And I watched it on the iPad. But I've seen the first episode. I was teaching and I had some downtime, and I'd heard about it from you guys, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a watch, and I did enjoy it. And then thought, you know what, I'll carry on with it, and then just didn't. So I will wait for the 4K disc. I'll buy the 4K disc. Jordan and I were chatting about it over the weekend, actually, via DM. And it may be that I import it, because I don't think it's out here in November.
Oh, okay.
So whenever it is, I think I will pick it up, because I was enjoying it. It's very, beautiful production design and an intriguing story. So I will get it, but I don't know anything about the comic or anything like that. I know nothing about that at all. So it's literally only what's on screen. I will definitely pick it up. And then hopefully, as I say, it's in Atmos, and it'll be great.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see if the Atmos is that much of an improvement, if at all, over what I'm hearing right now with the DTS Master Audio. Because it is amazing. And like I said, it's like you'd be hard pressed to walk in and guess which codec it was. And that's what I think. It's not so much the codec anymore. It's where are you getting it from, right? If it's from a stream, it's going to be compressed. If it's physical, I don't care what the codec is, because Christopher Nolan has blown us away. Movies or shows like this one blowing me away. Don't worry about the name on the front. Worry about the experience in the room, So, all right. What do we got now?
Jordan just says there about, it says we're only getting it on Blu-ray and DVD. So there we go. So I'll import that for Christmas. That's fine. I don't mind doing that.
There you go. Yeah. All right. You ready to do your first one that we have in the notes there?
Lay it on me. What do we got?
Let's see. We got this guy. This I'm actually interested to see.
Yes.
I'm hoping that we get this one soon on Kaleidoscape. I already own it.
On Kaleidoscape. Yeah, you've got it. I've seen it on your tiles.
But not in 4K.
Oh,
so
okay.
We're talking upgrade here.
Upgrade, yeah. So this is upgrade on 4K UHD disc, DTS HD 5.1. Although it is. Although this upmixes beautifully to Neural X. So this is upgrade. Filmed by Lee Whannell, who of course directed The Invisible Man. And this is a movie that I've just imported from the US on 4K disc. It's not out here at all in 4K, only a very, very expensive Blu-ray, which I still own. But this is the 4K version. The movie is really, really good. This is Lee Whannell doing a sort of Paul Verhoeven-esque kind of RoboCop meets kind of Total Recall mashup. And it's really, really good. And you will love this, Deej. I genuinely think you will. And I think most people that have seen it loved it. It's ultra violent, but it's great fun. Oh, and the other film that I wouldn't say it owes a debt to it, but it does have some similar DNA is Bloodshot. Yeah, which is the other thing as well, because you have this kind of do they remember what's going on? Oh, what we're seeing is correct, and all that kind of stuff. But it is very, very good indeed. And sorry, I'm just trying to bring up my notes on it a minute.
Did you see, let me ask you a question while you're looking at that. Have you seen that show that we have it over here on Hulu? I don't know if you have it over there on your Disney Plus, but it's similar to this, and it looks just like Bloodshot, called The Simulant or Simulants.
Oh, I haven't heard of it. No, not seen it. No.
Same idea. They're like it's very the premise of it. I watched the trailer the other day, and I'm like, oh, I'll have to check that out in the theater because it looks like a ripoff of Bloodshot because they're taking former soldiers and then they turn them into robot like replicants or simulants.
Okay.
But now the premise of the movie is they want rights. So it's like, I was like, oh, here we go. Another movie. Oh, wait, this is actually interesting because that gets you to your thing. Like, I'm super like that anyways. Like, I mean, if I get like attached to things like my car. My son and I, we don't want to get rid of the car. It's like it's part of the family. It's inanimate objects we get attached to. I can totally see us being like, oh my God, 50 years from now, people are like, that's my robot. I've had it for 10 years. I love her or him, whatever. Right. And it'd be like, I mean, we named we have a Roomba in the house. We named the thing, I think, whatever. I forget what we named. I think it was the name from the Jetsons. And we love her. We're like, oh, she's out. Look at her go. And we're like, hi. We talk to it. And you're like, what the heck? So imagine an actual like simulant, an actual person like thing, but it's not. And you would totally be like, well, you got to give him rights, right? No, no. I can see both sides of it. And you're like, what the hell? Crazy.
Well, this one is a movie set in the future, but a recognizable future, like RoboCop, same sort of thing, where a guy is injured. It's a bit of a whodunit as well. He is injured, becomes a quadriplegic, and someone that he knows says, well, I've got a chip that could be inserted into you, not there, which might help you. And it turns out that this chip does help, but also gives him certain powers and strengths and all the rest of it. It's fantastically violent. It's fantastically pulpy. And it's an awesome 4K disc. Now, again, funny enough, Deej, you saying about the 5.1, this is only 5.1 DTS HD MA, but upmixes beautifully. The image quality is great. It's razor sharp. Lee Whannell can compose a shot very well. If you like The Invisible Man, you like the movies that he's done, this is another one in those lines, along those lines.
Oh, did he do Invisible Man too?
Yeah, Lee Whannell. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's got that, same ultra smooth look to it, very.
So
good.
I'm going to have to see it, have you explain it to me, and then enjoy it.
No, not this one. Not this one. This is pulp. This is genre movie. There's no subtext to this, I don't think.
Okay.
This is just, kill a load of people. And I've got a few things here that'll whet your appetite in terms of timestamps. So right from the very opening seconds, there is a voiceover, and I'm not going to spoil to you who that voiceover is, but there is a voiceover that sounds like it's in the room with you. It's that beautiful kind of every speaker feels like it's going, and it's right there. And then it cuts to our hero who is working on a car, and it's an old muscle car, and he gets into it, turns the engine on, and revs the engine, guns the engine, just like, Batman special. Oh. Again, all very much UD, just what I said, whet your appetite. And as he revs it, lets the engine idle, and then says, "I love you," to the car, and then off he goes. Yeah. So it starts off, and the bass really rumbles. This thing's got power to it. So straight away you're like, "Oh, I'm going to enjoy this." You then get at the sort of 39-minute mark in his apartment that he's got, which is all very futuristic. There is water running, and it's all in the rear speakers. You can hear as he's moving around the apartment, water dripping, water moving, like a water feature indoors. It's not, it's not leaking. And you can hear that. And then at the 1 hour, 2 minute mark, you then get what I've labeled here, permission granted, which is where this chip is finally given permission to do what it can do. And when it does it, one, you'll be laughing your ass off because of how violent it is, but also it's just great how it does it, and it's all really visceral, and there are bones cracking and all kinds of stuff. It's great. So I honestly, Deej, I don't wait for the 4K, mate. If you're not going to pick up the 4K disc, don't wait. Just watch it on Kaleidoscape, because you're going to love this. Yeah, and I think John will too. John needs to get the 4K disc. It's such a good film. I've not heard anybody say anything other than wow.
I know, and it's fun.
Man.
Yeah, it's funny because that's why I have it on there. It's like I do listen to the listeners. It's like you get the oh my god, this sounds so good, and it's been on there for the longest time. But there's only so much time in the week.
No, I know.
And like I said in today's Takeover Tuesday, it's like I love the idea of how we're doing things, and it's just. It's what strikes you, and it's sometimes you're excited because it just got a 4K release. Other times it's you see an actor and you're like, oh my god, I haven't seen him in forever. So I want to see that movie, and that's what's cool. So
the only thing I will say is the main actor in it is Logan Marshall Green, who looks like Tom Hardy's twin brother. And so whenever you're watching this, you'd just be thinking Tom Hardy. Oh my God, it's just Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
They are so similar. It's crazy. But yeah, it's really, really good. You will love it, DJ, and you'll be telling everybody else to see it straight away. And this will become a show title, because you're going to like, oh my God, and then this, and then that, and oh my God, it was that. You will love it. I promise you.
Okay. Let's see. Jordan says in the chat, he asked, DJ, is that film you just mentioned, Simulant, a film starring Simu Liu? Because if it was released here in the UK as a Sky Cinema original and can be watched on Now. Okay, watch on Now. I guess that's a channel over there.
But it's unfortunately they only play them in without having Sky, the satellite service. Mm-hmm. You only get a sort of 1080p 2-channel kind of version of it. So it's not great.
Okay.
But you need to see it. That's the way to.
I'll see it first, because you never know how it was made, but like how good the story is. It just seems all I saw was the trailer, but it does have that Simu Liu. Jordana Brewster is also in it, and what's his name? Sam Worthington is also in it. And Sam Worthington actually plays the guy that goes after the simulants that want to be like free. So he's like a he's supposed to be tracking these down or whatever. You get all that from the trailer. So I don't know. I mean, it's on Hulu over here, and it's like, who knows? I don't know. It might not be any good. I don't know. That's why I was asking. Randy L. Never seen Upgrade.
Yes, Randy's a new guy. Don't think we've had Randy chat. So hi, Randy. If this is your first show, thanks for joining in. I will say to you what I've just said to DJ. You must see this. If you like RoboCop, if you like Total Recall, if you like the kind of the near future ultra violent sci-fi movies, Bloodshot's another one, although lesser, then this is one to see ASAP. I think people really, really enjoy this. So yeah, track this down however you can, and give it a go. I think you'll like it.
Oh, cool. Van Gool is saying, let's see. Van Gool saying, DJ just said he uses SVS and a local place is doing a night with SVS that is free to go. Van Gool, type out the details in the chat if you can. And, we'll say that on the show for anybody that's in that area. That would be great. I love my SVS. I mean that when I upgraded to that, and I still got some face-offs to do, but I'm absolutely loving the SVS upgrade that I went. I used to be running NHTs, and I thought those were phenomenal. And now hear this. Sorry, NHT.
Yeah, see that, Deej?
Just subscribe, get you closer to scheduling your nice. All right, Horizon Home Theater. Thank you very much. Do you have about 30 more friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Horizon. I'm really I'm looking forward to that. I really am. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I've said before, it's like when I get closer to that 1,000. Or when I get to 1,000, I'll schedule it, and it's gonna be fun to see what I'm like after 24 hours of talking home theater, and how many days do I take off from talking home theater? It'll
I reckon about 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, no, it'll probably be about the 8 hours I sleep, and then I'll get up and go, all right, who's back?
Let's do this. Yeah. Sorry, no, wrong one. Jordan just says in the chat. So Jordan, I think Jordan said this before. I just want to deal with it. So Jordan says Upgrade is basically the best Venom film, giving elements of the story and stars an actor that looks like Tom Hardy. Yeah. I don't think it's a fair comparison. Venom is an all right movie. Upgrade's a great movie.
Yeah.
So Venom's okay.
Well, that's what he's saying. This is the better version.
Quite. Yeah. So I think it's I absolutely would recommend Upgrade over Venom, because I don't want people to be put off thinking, if it's just Venom, I didn't really think much of that.
Right.
I really do recommend this, but the other opinions are available.
Yep. Let's see. Van Gool has got listen up here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, October 11th, 4 to 6. So if you're in that area, and I know that we have a few listeners there in that area. Check that out. So listen up is doing an SVS night. That's pretty cool. Really cool. Let's see. What's that? Actually, this is Horizon Home. This is my second subscription to your channel. Need to make 29 more accounts. I want it to be real. It's like, so there is that. But I do appreciate it, Horizon. And I've said that to people in the past. I'm like, if your wife has a subscription or your significant other has a subscription to YouTube, do that. I'm like, that would be great. People do that all the time, but I do want it to be real. And speaking of that, we did get the over on Twitter. We just passed 1,000. Not even passed. We just made 1,000, and so that's pretty cool. So that'll drop back down again because you get some bots in there and stuff. But let's see. What do we want to do? Not that one. Not that one. Did I not take a picture of that too? Oh my God. All right. Let's see. All right. We'll do it. And actually, let me see if I can do it this way. So actually, why don't you, no.
Yeah. Give me one to talk about while you're working on the fly.
That's the thing, is you can't do it that way. Because, you can't do it that way.
We need some hold music.
No, actually, you know what? Why don't you do? Let's hear about this one, Steve, and you work on the fly. And I really want to hear about this because this is an interesting one because I'm conflicted, buddy. So
I'm about to
tell us
conflict
all
you
about
even more.
Kick-Ass 2.
Okay, so this one then is on 4K disc. Came out here on a steel book, which seems to be quite limited in terms of its availability. I think Amazon have got it, and then HMV over here, which is a kind of a physical media retailer here, has it. I didn't realize it was out until Jordan, again, who is my release date guru, had told me that he got it. So I was like, oh, okay, right, great. And I quite like this film. I don't love it, but I quite like it, and I really like the first one. So I picked it up and gave it a watch. Now, interestingly, it's 4K HDR, and it has a DTSX mix. Now, ordinarily, when you hear that, you think, oh, okay, then that's going to be good news because it's going to be something a bit different. It must be something a bit unusual, so I'll pick it up. So I got it and I watched it. The movie is still as it was. It's okay. It's quite fun in its own way. It's not a lengthy film. It doesn't outstay its welcome. And it's got some funny stuff in it, albeit, it does push its content a little bit, although nowhere near to the level of the comics, as I understand it, which are ultra violent and far worse. So, it's lesser Kick-Ass. It's okay, but it's I'm sorry, did I not say? Sorry, it's Kick-Ass 2. I don't think I said that.
Yeah.
Whoops. Yeah. So and so it's lesser of the two, but enjoyable enough. Now, image-wise, it's beautiful. The 4K on this is exceptional at times. There's a number of shots of Chloe Grace Moretz, who I won't spoil anything, but she's trying to leave her past behind her, and there are a number of shots of her in close up, and there's a kind of a sort of an apricot kind of color. She's got sort of makeup on her face, and the individual blemishing and blending of the colors on the makeup. So it goes from sort of apricot to a light purple to a little bit of a red and back again. And it looks like a L'Oreal advert, like a Max Factor advert. It just looks incredible. So image-wise, and it's a very colourful movie. They've embraced the comics when they were making this. So it looks really, really nice. Very, very colourful. Great. So far, so good. And then I'll tell you about the audio.
Oh.
I'll be curious to see what anybody else makes of this if you've seen this on 4K and this particular version. I was disappointed with the DTS track on this. Oh yeah,
it's a DTSX.
Indeed.
This is a first, Steve. This is big news. This is that's not good.
Yeah, well, whether I'm in the minority, I don't know, but I was so disappointed with the bass response on this and the overall envelopment that I immediately went back to Jurassic Park, DTSX, Lone Survivor, DTSX, Battleship, DTSX, and thought, look, maybe, is it my system? No, it's not my system, or at least not, generally my system. Whether it's my system with this disc, I don't know. But it wasn't terribly enveloping. The bass was not really there. You never really felt like I was right in the midst of all this cacophony of noise. It was front heavy. It was weird and disappointing. And I genuinely don't think that I will be watching this movie again in 4K. I'll keep it in the collection because I like the movie, but I don't think I'd watch it again. And I certainly won't dig this out as a demo. There's nothing in this that I would dig out and say, right, check this out. Hi, John.
John, how we doing?
I'm here.
Yep.
He's here. So I was. This was disappointing, and I would not recommend this. Which again feels weird on a DTS track. I would not say to people, import it, go out and buy it. Personally, I don't think this is worth the upgrade just for the video, even though it does look very nice. So interestingly, Jordan says in the chat as well, I'll just bring this up. Look, John's just turned up and I'm cutting him off already. So Jordan says, so Kick-Ass 2, fun sequel, 4K disc audio, better than the standard Blu-ray. I didn't compare it, I must confess, but the 4K picture was excellent. So yeah, fair enough. I didn't compare it to the old Blu-ray because I was just so disappointed with this. I thought maybe it was my system, but it can't be, because everything else I watched this week sounded amazing. So, but it is one of those things, Deej, where I genuinely, like you said the other day, I was, because obviously I've got a sub at the back and a sub at the front, and they've got lights on, so I know when they're on. And it got to a point where I leaned across the sofa and looked at the sub at the back to check it was on.
Yeah.
Because it was so just really weak. So, as I said, I don't recommend this, unfortunately, which is weird given the subject matter, but, there it is.
Yeah, and that's... Now I almost feel like I have to buy it on Kaleidoscape because Kaleidoscape has it with an Atmos track.
Okay.
And I was like, but this is very unusual because it's one of those things that, I mean, DTS has been notorious for having fantastic audio because they're the little brother, right? They came out after Dolby. DTS has been always in competition. And everybody thinks that, like, okay, great. It's got a DTS-X version or IMAX enhanced with DTS-X. They want that over the Atmos when both codecs can do the same thing, which means they can both fail. If it's not rendered appropriately on their end, then this is what you could end up with. But that is exactly what we all do, and and I say we as in everybody listening, it's like when something's not right, you immediately, if you don't back out, you're just like, all right, when this is over, I've got to check my stuff. I got to go to something that I know I like, right? And you'd be like, oh, there we go. That's there. Okay, it's not me, it's them. Because you never know. You could have. We're going to talk about one later that I did the exact same thing, Steve, and it was you're just like. Did something fail in the last, just by me switching inputs or something? Like all of a sudden you're looking like I have tape over my blue light in the back of the room on my SVS subwoofer. And I'm like, nope, it's on. It's right. Or you put your hand to it. All right. I feel it. I can feel it.
It's weird, isn't it? You could watch 20 movies and be like rocking, watch one and it'd be a bit thin. And you're like, wait a minute, something's wrong with my system. It's weird, isn't it? You're only as loving the last movie you watched, and if the one you're watching now isn't what you think it is, you're like, it's my system. But it was really weird. Do not import this, Deej. Don't go buying this disc because
is it not out over here on DTSX?
I don't know. This one is a UK steelbook.
Okay.
So I don't know. If it is, you'd be curious to see.
I think it is. If it's not already, let me look. 4K 2013 Kick-Ass 2 September. It was out here September 12th, and it has DTSX.
Okay. So that's the.
It's an upscaled It's an upscaled 4K. But it does have DTSX, 48 kilohertz, 24-bit master audio. Yeah. So interesting.
What I found interesting, I looked up a couple of reviews, and the reviews didn't really mention the bass. They just talked about. Then they were like, "Oh, it's enveloping and it's great, all this stuff," but they don't mention the bass at all. So it is odd. I don't know. Maybe it is my system, but everything else is running fine.
Yeah.
So it's just odd.
Van Gool is asking in the chat, he says, does Kaleidoscape do that with audio versus discs? Yes and no. One, Kaleidoscape doesn't do it. They only get to do whatever the studio gives them. Okay, so the studio will give them the mezzanine file, which is, here it is, uncompressed, everything. It's just, it's as close as you can get to the theatrical version, and then Kaleidoscape takes it from there, and then they put their flags in for all their stuff that a Kaleidoscape's capable of. They also check it for continuity, meaning picture quality and sound, make sure there's no issues. That's about the extent of what Kaleidoscape does. But yes, when the last time I think we talked about this, I think it was Jurassic World Dominion, right, guys? And where I think it was DTS-X on the disc, just like Kick-Ass here, and the Atmos track on Kaleidoscape. And I did an A/B comparison on that, and brought my son in on that, my wife in on. I'm like, can we see or hear any difference here? And it was Nelson, who also, he has a kaleidoscope as well. Him and I talked about it. He said he noticed something in the music. He could notice a little bit of a difference. It was like, I can't remember, I don't want to quote him, but let's just say he felt it was like cleaner, brighter in the DTSX version. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a difference in the two tracks, because DTS notoriously is a little bit, hotter on the bass. But if you walked in the room, you wouldn't know the difference. And when I was ABing it, we were looking for particular things on scenes, and it was just so hard. And when you do ABs like that, a lot of times what happens is you think you hear a difference. And I was doing them so fast that I was like, oh my God, yep, this one is clear. Yep, DTSX, it has the better bass. And then you switch over and you go, oh wait, that was the Atmos. and you'll go back and forth and you'll be like, oh no, that one, oh, okay. And when you do it fast enough or enough times, you forget which one is which, and you'll try to listen for things and be like, oh, I didn't hear that one in the other track. Then you go to the other track and you go, oh yeah, there it is. Perfect. It's the exact same thing. So it's very, very difficult to discern the difference. So, all right. Well, I think that deserves a lot of that conversation though, because it is an unusual situation that a DTS track isn't very good.
Yeah. I was expecting good things and I just didn't get it.
Too bad.
I wish I did. Never mind.
Yeah. So let me do this one quick, John, and then we'll jump to one of yours.
Yeah, fine.
But yeah, my scene for this week, I almost was going to back out on it because we're a little up in the air today, but Iron Man 2, one of my favorite scenes. And this one I've been meaning to get to for a little while. And I believe if it was John Brock, I'll shoot myself. I believe it was Paul Hurt on Twitter or something, a month ago, mentioned this scene. And he kind of was just like, you just say what you will about the movie. You just can't not watch this end scene. And so this end scene here, you could start at 1 hour, 40 minutes, 5 seconds. And I called it Black Widow debut. Yep. Paul says, yep, that was me. Thank God I didn't screw
Put you out
John
of your misery
Brock again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoo. I got it right for once. But yeah, so it's Black Widow debut / kill box. So you open this scene and it's the first time we get to see Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow in the Black Widow costume. To the point that there's literally a line from Happy when she gets out of the back of the car and he goes, "What are you wearing?" So that's awesome. And watching that scene, the beginning scene here, now she comes in as full Black Widow at about a minute into this, at 1 hour, 41 minutes, 40 seconds. And look at her costume in 4K and HDR. And it's almost blue. I think it is blue, or it's black, but it's that shiny material and the fluorescent lights going off of it. But then her hair, and then we get the first glimpse of what they made fun of in the Black Widow movie, where she does the superhero landing or whatever, and she does the spread, and her sister makes fun of her for it. That was really cool. But all of the stuff that she does in that scene, the way she moves, the sounds that she gets, it sounds awesome. And it's very clean, and especially her going down that hallway with the white walls and her black outfit. The bad guys are in all black camo, not black camo, all black fatigues. Just a great high contrast scene with tons and tons of detail that back in 2009, when I'm watching this on Blu-ray, just with my a 720 projector, it just wasn't the same as it is today. It looks amazing. But then when you get to 144, the landing in the kill box, which is what they called it. This is the kill box. We're going to go up top. Yeah. Look at Robert Downey Jr. and his acting, even though he's in this big metal suit. He's like, all right, we're going to go up there. And then he does that. He does this little thing with his lip where he's like, you have a big gun. You're not the big gun. Right. But like right before that is like, I think Rhodey's like, we got to put the big gun up there. And then he does it. And it was pretty cool to see. You see like Tony Stark and, Robert Downey Jr., but he does this. He's like, all right, big gun up there. All right, let's go. And he does this strut in an Iron Man suit, which was actually pretty cool. But when all of those robots or whatever come in for the battle and they start, I think the first one lands in the left rear corner and it just, da-gonk. But the bass that you get in that, plus the metallic twang, because it's all metal coming down on the boom, 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 all around your room. Really, really good. And then that's at 146.40 called Coming In Hot, because they're coming in hot. Great use of the room, great gunfire when they start firing. And then, Tony's like, down, and they get down. He's like, oh, you should have led with that. The lasers, the smoke that you see, the gunfire, the explosion. So there's lots of brights, there's lots of darks, but then there's all those grays in the middle from the smoke and everything. Very dynamic looking scene from beginning to end. And then, I actually made a scene for this on the Kaleidoscape. And when it ends right when he says, it's a one-off, and he's like, it's a one-off. And then the scene ends. So it was pretty cool. Really, really good. Highly recommend it. Start that. Iron Man 2, 1 hour, 40 minutes, 5 seconds, and just enjoy. So, wish I'd taken a picture of it too. So,
and for the record, it's got a very cool Gatling gun.
Yes, it does. It does. And also the Widowmaker. Remember the Widowmaker?
Yeah.
And it does a little fart noise.
Yeah.
All right. John, what do you want to get to first? You're coming in, and do you want to do
Doesn't matter.
All right. Let's do
I've only got a couple, so
yeah. Well, let's go with this.
Yeah, this is worth 2 at least.
I might actually eliminate some of mine because I watched it. I didn't watch this. I went back and let's pull it up for people so they can.
yeah. Say, what are we talking about?
John doesn't even know.
I don't
Sorry.
even know.
Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla. So
2014, right?
2014. Yep. This was 4K, UHD, Dolby Atmos. So I'm continuing like my out of order watch of the MonsterVerse movies in preparation for Apple TV's upcoming series. So I did, King of the Monsters, I think 2 weeks ago. Obviously, I didn't have this disc. Actually, there was 2. I didn't have Skull Island either, so I had to buy both of those so I could do this watch through. But yeah, so most of us have probably seen this, but I feel like this is in every way like the little brother to King of the Monsters, even though it came first.
Yeah.
It's not quite as good of a movie, I don't think, and I don't think it's quite as good in the HT department. That's not to say that it's not good.
It's amazing.
But I feel like King of the Monsters is almost referenced from beginning to end.
Yeah.
This is a bit slower. The story is a bit slower. There's more human time in this one than there is monster time. Yeah. Which, honestly, who needs? Like, I don't need people in any of these movies. Like, if Godzilla versus Kong was 20 minutes and there was nothing but Godzilla versus punching Kong, that would be a better movie. I think we don't need the people in any of these movies. But this thing still, it kicks, right? Like the bass is there every time Godzilla is on the screen, or the two, I forget what monster. They weren't really any of the named monsters in this one as much. I think Mothra was Mothra here though. I don't remember.
I think she's mentioned, but she's not in it. It's
anytime
they're just creatures. Yeah.
Anytime any of the creatures are on screen, you've got the bass, you've got the roar of Godzilla, which just rattles through your whole house. And this is great. As far as HT goes, but I feel like in most categories, it's just a little bit less than King of the Monsters. Like if I was going to pick one to show off, I think it would be that one and not this one. But
yeah,
I think this has this has got at least 2 massive demo sequences for me, And when I had,
just got 3.
Well, I'll give you 4.
Okay.
All right.
Reverse
All
auction.
right. Well,
Yeah. I see you
Play
at 3
that
and I
scene.
raise you up. Yeah. I call your bluff and raise you. So it's
Actually, I'm up to 4 too. Sorry, I do have 4 here.
Well, the 2 that I always think of, and I remember because I got this disc after King of Monsters in 4K as well, but only because it came out in 4K after King of Monsters, and I tweeted out in massive excitement after this, the opening escape sort of sequence where the sort of creature, whatever it is, escapes for the first time.
Right.
That just had my entire room pulsating and moving, and just the deepest rumble of bass. It felt like the whole room was moving. And I loved that. I thought that was so, but also what I liked about it was the bass was controlled. So it was muscular and deep bass, but it wasn't rolling off to make it was the difference between the room moving and the room rattling. And it was moving, and it was so controlled. It was fantastic. And I really liked that. And then the other one I really liked was on the train bridge, where you've then got the overhead. So you've got the kind of the noise of the creatures. You can't really see them because of the fog, but you can hear them above, and then the kind of the noises that they're making. And it just was so good. And that whole sequence with the train and the kind of the tension building up on that was just awesome, and worth the price of admission alone. Right. Whereas King of Monsters, I think, kind of just hits you over the head for 2 hours with a bat.
It does.
It's just whack, whack. From minute 1, when the foot goes down, the whole room shakes, and it doesn't really stop until the end. Right. Whereas this, I think, has that is more effective because it has the quieter sounds and the big noise. Whereas King of Monsters is just like, we're going to turn the dial up to 11 for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. If you're going to demo one, that'd be one to go, right, here we go. I'll just hit play randomly. You'll be fine. We'll hit something good. Right. Whereas Godzilla, this one, I like because of the changes in it. Man, they're both great discs and all good demo discs.
For sure, yeah. They are both great. I'm looking forward to getting into the Kongs, hopefully this week.
Yeah, Skull Island's good. Another good disc as well. Really decent disc. There's some great demo sequences in that.
Yeah, it's funny. Randy L in the chat says Godzilla got circled in the TV guide every time when I was a kid. It was a Saturday delight. Yeah, and when I reviewed this one a while ago, and that's why when I saw you did it, John, I was like, oh my God. And I reviewed it first as a Blu-ray, I believe. And then I talked about the 4K when it came out, and I maybe updated it back then. I think it was March of 21 it came out in 4K. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember saying at the end of that, being like, when you hear Godzilla roar, it was like being a kid again. You just hear that, and you're like, they just nailed that roar, and it was so good. But the scenes that I went to, it's at at 3510, you have a jump scare where they're looking like down the throat of a monster, and then all of a sudden it's like, rah, in the whole room, just you can hear the screams of the victims running, a little bit of dialogue, but that's clear. It's like there's so much, and like you said, Steve, like the bass, and it's like great deep bass. There is vibration when things walk, right? But there's also the booms and stuff. But right in that scene, it progresses right to a gas mask scene where the character, I think it was, what was the son's name? Ford? Was that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The kid's name?
Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah.
Okay. So he puts on a gas mask, and all the sound goes to, now your room is like you're inside that gas mask. And it was just such a cool effect. And then also look at the 4K, and you could see like the reflections on the glass of the mask. You could see, it's just beautifully shot scene, but how your room all of a sudden gets it's awesome. And then towards the end, I can't believe even John, didn't mention it, that Halo jump. That's that right there is the price of admission. When they all jump out, and the 4K on that. I mean, they made the poster out of it. Remember, with the red coming down, but the way that the sounds of them jumping, and then how it just like the sounds of the wind going by them, and then them dropping in, and then they're again more like I think a gas mask situation again, but he goes by the monsters, and then you see Godzilla roar, but it's kind of you barely hear it. It's just like a roar, as he goes by, and then I was just watching this the other day, and when he landed, I was like, how do you do that? Like, seriously, you jump from that high and you pull your chute when you're between the buildings. And I know this is a movie, but I've seen this in person, and there are guys that do this. I was actually lucky enough to be at Fenway. I got free tickets. Jen and I went, and we happened to be in not a luxury box, but the pavilion seats at Fenway Park, which are way, 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 way at the top. And all of a sudden, a plane flies over, and it was like 3 minutes before the national anthem, and you just see these guys, and they're just no chutes, nothing. They just jump from way up there, and they landed perfectly with the national anthem. But the last two guys were in tandem, holding each other's like arms and legs, so they were one body. They didn't pull their chute till after they went by Jen and I.
Right.
And you're like, whoa. And they're just dropping, and you're like, holy crap. And they go at the last second. But I'm like, how do you not like end up hitting a building?
Right.
Like you're coming down like, I'm aiming. But that jump scene with the red sun, the red smoke, the gray skies, everything, and all that sound, that was amazing. And then at 148-ish, I think, I forget off the top. I know it was 148. They have the he's on the boat. I think it's Ford again. He's on the boat, and the power goes out, but so does the score. Check that out, because like the score's playing, and then everybody loses power, and then was the Muto whatever comes to get him,
right?
And it's very. I mean, all you get is that end battle with no score, and then the score comes up after the battle. So awesome scenes, awesome movie. I agree with you on King of the Monsters. The problem is you went the wrong way. Like,
well,
this was the first one, and you have to build to that. And it's like when we got this at first, and I watched it in Blu-ray with a DTS track, and I was like, we need this in 4K. But even that was amazing. Right. But then when we got the Atmos, and I think I want to say it came out with King of the Monsters or something like that when they all came out in 4K or something like that. But
yeah, I wasn't intending to do a full watch through of all of these. I picked King of the Monsters to test my subs, but then I got kind of wrapped in. Yeah, I got wrapped into it, and I knew that the show was coming out. Yeah, and like I said, I didn't actually have this one.
I've got viewing buddy wants to watch all of these before the Apple show comes out, so I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Do that whenever you're ready. So we're going to go back and then do them in order. I've got them all in 4K, of course. I mean, they're such good movies. Yeah, I saw that. Mike, I hate to disappoint you.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Yeah. So Mike says in the chat, Steve's got U571 in 4K. Is it being discussed? It will be discussed, but not tonight because I haven't seen it yet. I only got it yesterday, and it's a little bit down the viewing pile. But it'll be ready for next week, I promise.
There you go. Oh, don't make those promises. It's so tough.
Yeah. Promise-ish.
Yeah, exactly. Because so much good stuff comes out. But yeah, I when I saw John had this, I was like, oh, I got to revisit. Just go right back, jump on, and get some of those scenes in because it is so much fun. I agree with you. The other, King of the Monsters is better, but I mean, don't sleep on this at all. I don't think you can sleep on this.
Yeah. Well, no.
Neither can your neighbors.
If you can, you can sleep through anything, right?
Yeah. I do remember there was one scene that I had to check. I had to fix my door because it rattled so much. I was like, that's not right. I'm like, all right, we gotta tighten some things up over there. Steve, you want to do?
Lay one on me. Oh, yeah.
Yeah? All right. Here we go, Steve.
Okay, so this is Jackie Chan's Rumble in the Bronx, which came out here on Blu-ray with DTS HD 5.1. It's a special edition Blu-ray, I think it's out in the States, but not in this particular edition. And so I picked this up a couple of weeks ago and watched it this week. I really like this film. I've got such a soft spot for this movie. I've seen it loads of times, way more than is decent. But I really do like this movie. And recently having read a book about the action heroes of the 80s and the 90s, and this film had its own part of the book. It was fun to be able to revisit it. So if you've not seen the film, you should. Hopefully, and it was his first big success in the US. So hopefully lots of people have seen it, but if you haven't, seek it out. So this is Blu-ray 1080p, and it looks fantastic. It is like, so this could be one of those, Deej, we talked in the past, and John, I know you have as well, that if you walked in the room and if you didn't know any better and you said to someone, right, is that 1080p or 4K? I can see people going, that's 4K, isn't it? And that's HDR all day long, because it is bright, it's detailed, the image is razor sharp. It looks incredible on Blu-ray. I doubt you'd need a 4K disc of this. And of course, because of when it came out, fashion was very bright and colourful anyway, and every bit of that comes out. It looks stunning. And there are bits in there's a fight sequence around a truck that's got a load of balls in the back of it, like plastic bouncy balls, and not those, Deej or John. And it's got well, I mean, it takes a lot of balls to do what he did afterwards.
We're just children.
That's fine. But they're all different. They're all multicolored bouncing balls.
I bet.
And they all look absolutely amazing. So it's very, very good indeed, and well recommended. So yes, and for both big and small children alike, it's really good. So no, it's class, very cool. But there is one thing that I'd noticed this time. I've seen it before, but it jumped out. Deej, have you got the other picture that I put up?
Yes, I do.
Where you get Jackie Chan the meanie.
Yeah.
Yes. So I took this photo. So I've zoomed this up.
I zoomed that up, and then I'm looking at it. So what is it? Is that like a PlayStation Travel?
It's like Game Gear. It's a Sega Game Gear.
I had that.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So Jackie gives this young lad, having just arrived to the US, who's a bit upset, a Game Gear, a Sega Game Gear. He says, "You take that, mate."
And he's in a wheelchair.
And the little boy's playing. Well, quite. And the little boy's playing it happily. Apart from one big problem, as you can see from that picture, there's no cartridge in the machine. And you see it later as well, where he's also playing it. He's got a big grin. Oh, this is great. There's no cartridge in the machine. And it's beeping and booping as if he's playing it. Now, surely someone on set was like, guys,
can we put a cartridge in it?
Just anything will do. Just tape it over. No one will know. That it's so
right.
naughty. Jackie Chan, you bad boy, giving this poor kid a machine that he can't use.
Yeah.
So I couldn't help myself. I had to take a photo of it. Although that photo quite nicely shows the degree of detail in the image.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the
Unfortunately,
the
not that great actor kid. You covered his face.
No, well, quite well done. He's enjoying it. But you can see that if you look at the rivets on the metal there, and the little marks and that, and the flesh tones as well. I mean, honestly, it's so good. This it's almost too good for what was quite a low budget movie. It looks absolutely incredible. So yeah, if it comes out over there, get it. Or at least if it's the new version. It's absolutely fantastic. So actually, Jordan again says in the chat. So he's got the previous OOP UK Blu-ray. Says I'll have to try and grab the new Blu-ray Steve's talking about. I mean, it really is fantastic. I don't hesitate to recommend the image quality on this at all. I can't see how anyone can have a problem with it. It's very, very good indeed. So yeah, it's great. Really, really good.
Cool.
So yeah, like it. And again, we go back to our martial arts season. We took a little break. Now we're right back into it. Yeah,
when I thought I was out.
We drag you back in. That's how. Yeah, you're never out. You're never out. It sounds like John Wick. And so I'm hoping they'll release First Strike like this, because if they do that, I'm getting that as well. I absolutely love that movie as well. So fingers crossed. There we go.
All right. Let's see. What do I want to do next? Let's do this. Oh, wrong one. Boom, boom. There we go. This one was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this. We're talking Expendables 3. I almost texted my buddy Eddie, who I grew up with. You remember Eddie, John?
Yeah.
He's a few years older than he's 3 years older than me, but he was like my older brother, right? And we grew up in the same neighborhood, Dead End Street. And trust me, this does relate to Expendables. And I was just like, watching this movie it was like being a kid again. And there's a scene in this movie where they're a bunch of guys walking in the jungle with guns. And I was just like, I wanted to call my buddy Eddie and be like, hey, when we all turn 70, can we run into the woods and play guns again? It's like, because he was the leader and we would run. There was nobody there. We weren't shooting. We weren't playing against each other. Like, remember, you do guns like that. You get like 6 guys and you do 3-on-3 and you're like, bang, I got you. You do that. Right. No, we would be like, it was 4 of us, me, Eddie, Robbie, and Brian, and we go into the room as like a SEAL team of 4, and Eddie's leading us and he's doing the hand signals and we're looking and it's like, look over there, and we'd all look over there and we're doing the whole thing. But I'm seeing these guys do this and that's all they're doing. It's like all the biggest actors getting together to just play guns, to just have fun and just be like, let's just go pretend we still have testosterone flowing through us. It's like, they're all so old, but it's just so much fun. And oh my God, I had so much fun with this. But the home theater experience, opening scene, have you guys seen this?
I think I've only seen one, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I've got 1, 2, and 3 in 4K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one is not the one of the 3 that I would choose.
No. Oh, God, no. They aren't great movies by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that, but that's not what these are like. It's like Transformers without Transformers. Well, it kind of is. They're the old guys transforming into heroes, if you want to call them that. But, I mean, Mel Gibson plays an awesome bad guy. Ronda Rousey is awesome in this. She's her acting. It's like somebody told her you got to act with your eyes, so she does this whole thing like she's like trying to act mean, but everything she like like if you can over enunciate with your eyes, she's like it's like all the time. You're like, what the? But it's such like there's a scene with Mel Gibson, and the picture on this is just, let me scroll through some of this. Oh, Franklin, my dog absolutely loves this movie. Look at that. That's him there watching the movie. And he just sits there and like, you have good pans going on around the room and I've said this before, but I love it. He comes down and he'll look around. Something will go off in the back and he'll look over there, or a pan across the front and he's looking everywhere. He can't sleep. He just sits there and watches the movie. It's great. But I mean, look at this detail. It's not good, but it's like, but I was like, oh my God. It's like, now this is caught in motion too. I didn't freeze the shot and take the picture. I just bang. But I'm like, the color on it, this is Stallone's face for people listening only. But it's Stallone's face and it's the, red on one side, blue on the other. So you got the great tints there. But watching this movie and their expressions it really is a beautiful image because, when we were in art, John, you'd see those those were the fun ones to draw because there's so much detail in it for your display to pull out. And there's this scene when they have Mel Gibson captured. They're in the back of a van and he's like, they're just dead on with Stallone and Gibson in their faces. And it's just like watching Mel Gibson act with his eyes and the stuff he does. It's just, you're like, holy, the detail is just awesome. Awesome. But yeah, so there's an explosion. Oh, the 3-minute mark. I have it here, 4 boxes of popcorn, and they blew open a door, and I've never heard this or experienced this before. It might have been I'll admit, might have been my overall excitement of the movie itself, but we're only 3 minutes in. So, blow open a door, and it was a pan from the front of the room to a little closer to you in the front of the room. Like it didn't go by you, but it felt like that went woof, and it came, the sound, the door got closer to you. I thought that it sounded amazing. Check that out. It's at the 3-minute mark of this movie. If you have the movie and it's in 4K with the Atmos, check that out. See if you have the same experience. Because I did it a couple times and I'm like, that is odd. The only thing missing was the wind. It was really, really good. But yeah, back to that opening scene. The overheads, there's helicopters that you get because they come in on a helicopter. So your overheads, tons of bass, tons of bullets. There's a train. It's loud. It's awesome. I mean, just opening scene, push play, demo material. 24 minutes. There's an explosion, multiple levels of detailed bass, just ringing. Like there's crispness, but then you also have that lower end of the brrr, rumble that's going on. 1 hour, 43 minutes, 35 seconds. Explosion at the rear of the room. Arnold, it's a air battle, and Arnold shoots down a helicopter, but you hear the explosion off camera, and then the camera goes to the explosion. But the rumble actually felt like it came from behind me and then into the right rear side of my chair. Like it really felt like it was like, and my subs are centered front and rear. I have dual SVS PB 2000s centered, but this bass, and it's all a trick. It's the way they manipulate the speed. And it's like, all right, your brain's going to tell you it's coming from here, but it was awesome. So that's at 1 hour, 43 minutes, 35 seconds. You could check that out, but lots of fun. If I have to tell you to leave your brain at the door, then, but it was just so much fun. So much fun.
I bought all three at once years ago when they came out in 4K originally, and I watched 1 and 2. And by the time I finished 2, I never got around to seeing 3. I've seen it, but not in 4K. So I'll subject myself to it at some point. I don't know really why I bought it now that I think about it, because 1 and 2 were okay, but by the time we get to 3, which is a PG, isn't it? By the time you get to 3, 1 and 2 are R-rated. 3 is a PG, and so it's
PG-13. It's not PG.
Well, same thing, isn't it?
Well, no, Bambi's PG.
Oh yeah. So
Bambi.
So you Universal. No G. Oh man, they're all different. So I don't know. I've had the disc for so long. I need to at least watch it, I suppose.
So you gotta check this out. This has got
Chuck Norris in it, isn't it?
No,
this one with Chuck.
He's in 2.
Is that number 2? Oh, okay. No, all right, fine.
2's got Chuck. This one's got Mel. Yeah, Jordan, not a fan of Expendables 4. He said,
it bombed too.
Let's just say Expendables 3. Well, I already bought it. I haven't seen it. I pre-bought it on Kaleidoscape. So Expendables 3 is no longer the worst film in the franchise for me now. That's what Jordan's saying. I would probably agree with you. I probably will agree with you, but I'm probably still going to love every minute of it because it's just, and I don't even feel guilty about it. It's just so much fun. It's like, what were you looking for? Gandhi?
Yeah, but Jordan loves everything.
Oh, no.
So if he's saying it's bad, it's bad.
So he's UK DJ.
Jordan is.
So he's a UK DJ.
UK DJ. Yeah, Jordan loves all the stuff. So if he's saying it's bad, that's bad. So be warned.
What I want to know is if he thought 3 was the worst, why go see 4?
Yeah, well, because he probably thought it couldn't get any worse.
Maybe.
Yeah. Look at me, I'm bright side and Jordan, for God's sakes. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Next. We've got so many to get through.
Well, I'm making the call right now. I'm moving the Carl Ellsworth ones to next week. Even though one of them was going to be the show title, and we'll do that next week, and it'll all come right together. It'll all come together with his. Yeah. He's going to be on next week's Takeover Tuesday, and then we will talk about at least 2 of his movies next week.
Yeah, because we want to really give those some time, don't we? Because we've got some behind-the-scenes stuff on that we want to talk about.
Yeah, if I can remember it. I watched these earlier last week, and I was like so excited after talking to him. I watched them, and now it's going to be another week. But yeah, so let's get to it. You want to? Well, we'll do this We'll just do.
We know what the show title is going to be, don't we?
I
Surely.
think we should, because it's the only one that we all three have.
No,
yeah.
we'll
And I
argue
have a feeling,
over that
Steve,
then.
that you and I are very much. on
Oh,
the
I
same
think all
page.
three of us are on the same page on this one, John. I have some
okay.
behind the scenes knowledge.
Oh, okay.
But before that, let's talk quickly. All three of us. Just
yeah.
Ahsoka. Very quickly. I know, John, it says part 4. I'm using the same image.
Yeah, well, I figured that out after last week.
I know you're a stickler for those
I
details.
wasn't going to call you out again.
Why not?
Because I was late, so I have no legs.
Yeah.
Man.
Ooh,
All
can
right,
I go first? Can I go first? Can I go first? Can I go
Of course
first?
you can, Steve. That seems to be the pattern because it's like
Yeah.
this is the Star Wars, Steve George Ahsoka show.
Yes, that's it. Well, quite. I really like this episode as well. I really like this episode. And again, I maintain that there is a quality jump here, because at least in the cinematography on this one, I mean, we're trying not to spoil it because we nearly spoiled it for John, didn't we? When we were talking in the text message earlier in the week.
You were going crazy, and I'm like, oh, you
I
guys.
was just like, hey, haven't seen it yet.
I know. I was just like, I saw it. I actually saw it before you, Steve. But I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, hold your not guys, Steve, hold your excitement.
Shut up.
Poor John. I'm reading it, going,
man.
oh my god, poor John, because he's
Well-
gonna be like.
The thing
It's
is,
not
I
that-
usually wake up to like 19 texts because
Right.
you guys have these conversations. I'm sleeping away while all these conversations are going on, and then I
Well,
feel
that
like
no-
I've just missed too much to jump in, so I just move on.
Let it
Yeah.
go. Well, I find that with you two as well, of course, because you guys are chatting in the evening, and I
True,
wake up
that's
the
true.
next morning. It's like, whoa. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I first saw this on my iPad, Deej,
God.
and even watching it then on the iPad because I was at work the next day. Well, we call it skiving, right? So I had a bit of time free, and so I watched the episode first on that, and the cinematography, that Star Destroyer, just look. I thought, oh my god, that's incredible.
Awesome.
Oh gosh, and I thought, how good is this going to look? So after our little text exchange, I then watched it again in the cinema room, and again, it just from the opening shots of the hyperspace and the different colors coming off the screen, and then you get that Star Destroyer, which looks ginormous, and I think we forget how big they are or how big they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you see them in space, there's no scale to them, and so when you then see them on a planet with something designed to show its scale and on a big screen, it is absolutely jaw-dropping. And I was, wow, that looked amazing. So that was very, very cool. And I like the Stormtrooper designs, whether they are zombie troopers or whatever it is. There's been talk about that, I don't know. But I really like the designs on that. I liked how they greet who they greet. Although, actually, that's been on social media as well. Disney have
all over,
released
yeah.
it. Yeah, so Disney have said, so Thrawn, so as he's walking through, when they're going, Thrawn, I thought that was quite cool. And I haven't seen this bit of Rebels, so that was really cool. And then you get all that sort of stuff, and it kind of goes from there. You get a decent lightsaber fight as well, which sounds and looks great. Loads of bass. The HDR from the beginning of the hyperspace, so much so, in fact, to give you an idea as to how good it is, guys, the HDR. A friend of mine, my best friend, guy called James.
For us that haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, I know. But to give you how, like, again, Deej, the normies, right? There's reach to the normies, right? So my friend James, who loves movies, loves TV shows, knows nothing about home theatre and is not interested in the slightest. Okay, and so he rang me the day after, so last Wednesday in the morning, and he went, Steve, I've seen Ahsoka. Have you seen it? I'm like, well, obviously, yes. And he said, the colours at the beginning, the lights coming off, the hype, oh my God, that looked amazing. And for him to say that means it must be something special, because he wouldn't normally even think about that kind of stuff. So even he kind of realised this was something different. So I thought it was great. I really, really enjoyed it. Oh, and I like the little rock critters as well. I thought they were quite sweet.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So go on, guys. You are much more knowledgeable on this stuff than I am. So what did you guys make of
Oh
it?
no, what he said.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I actually, as much as I enjoyed seeing
What he said.
Hayden Christensen and so like all that stuff from the week before, I actually thought this was the better episode because it did much more to bring the story along, I think, than the other one. Because we'd known since the beginning that we were eventually going to meet these characters, but
Yes.
we weren't quite sure when. And I can't remember the name of the actor that plays Thrawn, but I thought he was cold and menacing, just like if you've seen Rebels, and like I go back to read it. I read the original novels way back when, and you get an image in your mind of these of him especially, and like it's perfect. It's a perfect.
Well, he does the voice in the cartoon, didn't he? He is the voice
he did.
Of the,
I just can't remember. And I do know his name, but I can't think of it. But yeah, it is the voice actor.
It's the animated series. It's not a cartoon.
Oh,
Garfield. Right. Garfield is a cartoon.
Snoopy's a cartoon. This is
Snoopy, Scooby. That's a cartoon. This is the animated series.
Yeah.
No,
and I thought live action Ezra was just as, because now we've got everybody. Well, with the exception of Kanan, who I don't believe there's a way to bring him in. We've got all Rebels now. Like we've got the whole cast into
Lars Mikkelsen.
They did, didn't they already have Kanan in an episode?
Is he
not
the alien?
Not
is he the big alien?
Not in this, but wasn't he in like Across the River in like Obi-Wan or something or another series?
Is he the alien? Is he purple?
As a kid, he was a kid in Obi-Wan.
That's right. Right.
So I'd forgotten about that.
So
he was kind of
I'm sure that I mean, I'm sure they can bring him in the same way they brought in.
Well, they'd have to go back to the world between
Christensen.
worlds, right? And kind of bring him in that way. I just don't think with 2 episodes left, we're getting back there. And then
maybe
Jeb,
not this season.
I think
but...
is it Jeb or Zeb? Zeb, I think. Was in Mandalorian.
Oh, that's the purple alien.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought this was really good, and like you, Steve, like I thought we don't want to be too spoilery, right? But that scene with the Star Destroyer where they basically lower down onto the tower and walk right off of it. You're like, I didn't know that was even a thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Until,
and you really got to trust your driver.
And you're watching it and what's going to happen as it's happening, but you're like, well, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that could be a thing.
Yeah. And some serious bass in that as well, actually. I thought for a stream, that's bassy as that's coming down, the room's going, Yeah, it's great. So good.
And
Jordan,
I had some. Okay, I won't talk.
Yeah, sorry, D. Sorry, Jordan just says in the chat, just because it's my view as well.
No.
If the series ends on a great note, Ahsoka could be my personal favorite live action Star Wars series yet. I'm pretty much there. I think. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, isn't that the thing though? Like, you remember Mandalorian season 2? It was like, okay, and then ended on such a high note that we were like, that was amazing, and what a season, right? This one potentially could go completely the opposite direction. You'd be like, what an amazing, and if it ends on a weird note, you'll be like, what, I did what?
Kind of like a film we're going to discuss in a little while.
But yeah, Ahsoka, like I said earlier, it's like that they're doing such a good job with the imagery of this is that you forget at times that it's not the animated series. They're doing such a good. I know it's live action. Obviously, you're watching it, but it's like your memory goes back to like when they'll show characters from the past, or you remember what they did in the animated series. Your memory does not distinguish like the which one is which. Right. It's just done so well, and I think that has more to do with not just the visuals, but how these characters are all moving. Like there was one time, Joe, when we were watching it, he was like, that character there moves exactly the way, I won't spoil it, but exactly the way that he did in the animated series, right? And you're just like, oh my God, I love, like, obviously Ahsoka is doing that with her, lightsaber battles, the way she jumps, the way she so much stuff, her arms crossed obviously, but it's just so good. It's and I think it is better. It's a better, more well executed series. Disney's getting better, or Favreau's getting better. They're at producing these. Every series gets better, but it's like I'm still not there. Like I said this at the episode 1. I just think, Steve, I still contend that you're just like so excited that you are enjoying it that much more. Because everything you're saying, I said in episode 1. I'm like, and I agree with you. These look amazing, but it's just a very, very well done series.
They've thrown a lot of money at this as well.
Dave Filoni too. That's the thing. Like this is all Filoni. He's written every episode. He created the character. This is his baby, right? So it can't possibly be any better than what it is, right? Whether either you love it or you don't, but there's no version of this that's going to be better, right? Nobody knows this character better than Dave Filoni, right? So I just think this is, and like you said, going back to the animated series versus this. I mean, they couldn't possibly have done a better job with the casting. They haven't missed in one case on any of these characters. Yeah, everybody's perfect. Everybody is like you said. It's like they hopped right out of the animated series right onto this screen. And it's like when you visualize what this would be in live action, it couldn't be any better. No, and there's other, because like I'm watching The Wheel of Time. I haven't mentioned it. I talked about it last year, where it's the exact opposite, right? Like the casting is so bad in that show compared to the books, and it just really ruins the experience for me. And like this, so it can go both ways, and this could have been a big failure if they didn't do it right,
especially with this franchise and these fans, which we are. It's like they're so sensitive to this, and that where it's like, and Dave Filoni, like you said, he invented these characters. He invented Ahsoka. He invented this entire universe that we're dealing inside the Star Wars universe. And I mean, it's not like that just gives you a pass, because George Lucas does stuff and people are like, what is he doing? Well, it's his stuff. Right. It's like, but they don't like it.
George Lucas forgot how to make Star Wars.
Exactly.
Did he though?
No. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I think
you might not like it, but
the difference there is you were 7 when it came out, and now you're like 47, and you're like, you got a different mindset, Right. Stephen Att saying Rosario Dawson is doing a great job with the character. Absolutely. So good. But
although she was barely in that episode.
Yeah, she wasn't.
Right at the beginning, and then off we go, which again is a sign of a strong show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it not though? Is there not the one huge tragedy from this show that Ray Stevenson is so good?
Yeah,
that we would not get any more of him. I mean, I could see a spin-off show of him.
Well, he's great. The character
so good
as well. Yeah, it's great. Like, you're right. I would love to see more of this guy, of this character, explored.
That's such a shame.
Yeah.
So, he's found a role he's born to play, more than even Titus Pullo in Rome, which is fantastic. Yeah. But this just seems so up his alley, as it were, forgive the expression, that it's a shame that we won't get any more. But there it is. Anyway, sorry, I see Tom's in the chat. Go on, DJ.
Yeah. Tom Moynihan, is he new to the chat?
I think so. I think must be. Yeah,
is he new? So Tom, if you're new, welcome. And he asked, what's your screen size and viewing distance? And John, you weren't here earlier, but we did have a comment earlier that I had mentioned. I'll show you on the, just so John's up to speed too. Somebody mentioned, Miguel Munoz mentioned, you need to mention more your speaker layout, brands, etc., more often for the new subscribers. And so and that what Tom's asking here falls right in line with that. Yeah. So what I was doing, what I suggested earlier is, instead of us doing our layouts every week, is we'll do a rotation. Right. So like I did mine this week, next week, Steve, then you, and then I'll do mine again, and then that way we're not getting inundated with, what it is, and we could put our lists together, but we can all tell our screen sizes. Same thing. If anybody in the chat has questions, we can answer them. But I mean, mine quickly is I'm 110-inch screen, and I'm sitting about 11 feet away. about 11 feet away. Sometimes I'll scooch up a little closer for those IMAX. I'll scooch up to like 10 feet away. But what are you, Steve?
My screen's about 32 inches. I'm about a foot away. Oh, you mean not the one I'm on now? Right, that's okay then. Just thought I'd double check. Okay.
12.2 iPad Pro.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's exactly. Yeah, with said surround. Yeah. So I've got a 75-inch screen, and I sit about 8 feet from that. So it's that's. But it's not a projector. It's an LCD Sony Z9D.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm a 123-inch screen. I'm about 13 feet away. So.
Yep. So we're all getting pretty much the same. Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Same viewing
angle. Yeah.
Viewing perspective. Yeah. So. But yeah, so great questions, because you're right. We get, and I said this in Takeover Tuesday, that we get so excited about the experiences, we forget to tell even the new listeners, like, what are we experiencing this on? I mean, really, the only time we mention anything otherwise is Steve saying, I watched it on my iPad. Right. And it's like, if you're first to the show, you're new to the show, and we're like, these donkeys are watching it on an iPad? It's like, hey, everybody. It's like,
well, look, I can do my phone if we have to. I mean, that's
right. I can too, but like, all right. John, you want to do?
We'll go super quick on this because I know we're running long.
Where? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's this is.
And I want to get
to Catch a Killer.
Yep. There we go.
This was on Hulu. This was 1080p 5.1. So this was a stream. This is stars Shailene Woodley and Ben Mendelsohn. It's a new movie. I think it dropped last week. So as far as the home theater experience goes, this thing, I mean, it's a streamed movie, up mixed from 5.1 to Neural X. It's in 1080p. So it is as what you would expect it to be with those stats and being a stream. This is not the movie you're watching necessarily for a big home theater experience.
Okay.
But that being said, I thought this was an excellent movie. Like I really enjoyed it. As you might expect, it's you've got a killer that needs to be caught. Ben Mendelsohn is FBI. Shailene Woodley is a Baltimore PD. They kind of get assigned to the same case to work together to catch a shooter that's basically, he starts with a party and kills like 24 people, gets into a shopping mall, shoots down another, 20, 30 people, so it's that, like, they're just trying to catch this killer. But it was really good. I liked it. I liked the movie. So I do recommend watching it. But like I said, this isn't necessarily your home theater, home theater movie. So,
all right.
John, does it have a courageous defense lawyer in there to swoop in and save the day? That's what I really want to know.
There is not. No, there is not.
It's not realistic at all.
Nope, not at all.
All right. Steve, you want to move? The Flash? We'll do that next week. Do you want to do that?
Yeah. Go for it.
We'll do that.
Of course. Yeah.
Because I really
you don't have to watch anything this week, Steve. You already got next week done.
No, man,
me
I've
too.
got so much to watch for next week. Yeah. I've got loads. I'll be okay till like November.
But I do want to do this because it does actually play into the last one that we'll all talk about. And John, I'm surprised you didn't watch this as well. But the Continental
says who?
Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Oh, you didn't put it in your. You didn't have it.
I watched lots of things that weren't in. I watched all of season 4 of Sex Education too, but it's not in my notes. I watch a lot of stuff.
No. Yeah,
I'll make it.
Yeah, but I mean, you did not. I mean, this I thought was a great home theater experience.
It was.
It's on Peacock. It's in 4K, and it's also it's PCM 5.1.
Right.
So I watched it. I actually saw it on IMDb before it came out. I saw like the stats and stuff, and it does have an Atmos track.
Oh,
but
really?
On IMDb, it says it was filmed in Atmos. So it has 2 tracks on there, and they're both Atmos under IMDb. Okay, under their technical specs.
Right.
So I was hopeful, But with its Peacock, I guess they're not putting out Atmos or whatever.
Right.
But this is a really, really good PC. This is one of those ones where it's like, please, everybody, stop getting hung up on the codec, on the title of the codec, because our systems are so good. If you have an Atmos or an object-based system, meaning a processor that does DTSX or Atmos, when you upmix, I more and more, I keep thinking, based off of all these experiences, I think that's what we are getting. Because that's all it's, object-based is just all about the processing. So you're using that same processor to take this 5.1 mix and give it overheads and stuff. And it was so good. But before that, the picture, really, really nice. I think it could benefit from a physical release because some of the brights weren't as bright, but it is a dim, hazy, desaturated type feel. Think like the Batman, right, John? Something like that.
Yeah, it's dark. It's a dark world. That they're in. Yeah.
And then what was it like halfway through? Which it's episode 1, season 1. It's an hour and a half long.
Yeah, it's basically 2 episodes.
Yeah. And you get remember the John Wick subtitles that you get in that? All of a sudden they showed up. Thing. I was like, that was so cool. I'm like, because they fade away differently. Yeah. Or they'll highlight a word in red or something. And that came in. But it is, beautiful to see. But the multi-channel PCM 5.1 multi-channel was absolutely amazing. Great bass for streaming. I had multiple remote activations. My Harmony would light up because the bass extension was so good. Nice rumble and feel. Very dynamic mix. Music and effects moving around the room, like the ping, 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 like whatever's in the music. The higher notes were like overhead. Did you get that, John?
Yeah, and I love the soundtrack here because this is mid 70s. I'm assuming this is taking.
It's actually 70, I think 1970.
1970.
Yeah.
And because it just says it starts out at like 1955, and then it says some years later or many years later or something like that. So you don't know exactly, but you can tell by the cars and the dress and the music that it's early 70s, maybe mid 70s. But yeah, I love the soundtrack here because it's all those great 70s songs. Yeah, and it looked and sounded great. I thought the story was a little I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm in.
But I mean, I'm in. I'm gonna watch it for sure. But like I didn't think it was as good as the audio and video. The presentation was great. The story, I'm a little bit less enamored.
I thought it was a little slow to start.
Yeah.
But as it went on, by the end of it, I can't wait for episode 2, which they drop on Fridays.
Right.
I think it's kind of a predictable story. I see where it's going.
It's a bit,
right? Yeah. And
it's one of those ones where again, there's no ultimate danger to Winston here. Because
you have a problem with that. Whenever we talk about this
that he's
stuff.
going to show up in John Wick 1, so nothing's really going to happen to him. It's tough when they're putting on they're in all these like life and death situations, but you just know there's no real stake there for him because
you haven't seen this yet, right, Steve?
Come out.
I was put off it by a couple of very sniffy reviews, which I read earlier in the week. That were saying.
Oh, I read really bad reviews too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love John Wick 1, 2, 3, and 4. Got them all in 4K. Really like them. They're good. But I had read, as I say, a couple of reviews from sources that normally are fairly reliable to say it's not good and it's not, not a patch on John Wick the movies. So I kind of just let it drift. So I haven't seen any of it yet. We've got it on Amazon Prime over here, as Jordan just said in the chat.
Well, you might get Atmos there then.
Yeah, I don't know. We might do. I mean, I think based on DJ, you saying, it's all right, I may give it a go, but I'm not going to rush to do it. And when we've got so much great stuff out at the minute, this won't be high on my list, I don't think. Yeah. It'll be one that I'll perhaps catch down the line when it's all available. But yeah, would both of you recommend people see it or not?
Yeah, I would.
I don't know.
See,
I don't know if I do. Like
well,
I said,
Do any Evil Dead rise in it?
no.
Oh
No,
right,
but let me give you a pitch. What are you looking for? The John Wick movies are based on a hitman having his dog killed, and they made 4 movies out of it. There's not a lot of story there, right? This actually gives you story, and by the end of it, you're like, it seems predictable, seems like I know where it's going, but you're starting to learn who characters are and a John Wick past, right? Because this is clearly before. It could be right around. I don't want to say any more.
Well,
but,
I'm told that we'll get a young John Wick somewhere before the end of this. Right. You have to be a kid.
So this is Gotham in the John Wick universe, is it?
Yeah.
Well, wait to the end before you see the main person.
But I will say, obviously this has nowhere near the budget of a John Wick movie, right? Like this is a TV show. But there are some very John Wick scenes in here. Like that scene at the beginning with his brother. Spoilers. Winston.
Yeah,
has a
careful.
brother.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna say he has a brother. That's it. There's
actually, Steven's gone now from the chat. You can spoil away.
No real spoilers. Just
actually, you know what? I thought of a new thing.
There's some scenes where he's like tearing through. I don't even want to say where because that's a bit of a spoiler. But he's just tearing through and doing John Wick stuff, killing people, and I mean it looked pretty good. Like the choreography and all that stuff was pretty solid. For something that, like I said, that probably has a tenth of the budget of.
We'll talk off air, John.
Movie,
We'll talk off air because I think this story is not getting the credit that it's due. Because I think there's fun stuff, but I mean it's better than the Expendables. Expendables 3, better story.
That's not saying a lot.
And it's a great home theater experience too. And like I was saying, I have on my notes 4510. It's an upmix demo music. The music is overhead, lyrics hovering in front of your screen, not on your screen. It's pretty much indistinguishable every time I heard a difference on the track. It was just like you're listening and it's like back and forth. It's just an awesome track. I think and again, it's just 5.1 multi-channel and it's so good. Definitely check that out, but I don't know. I don't know. I love the story. I love where it's going. But like I said, I will agree that it's predictable, but maybe people aren't seeing that part of it. And then they'll be like, but yeah, we'll talk later. We'll talk later, but we've got something else that we've got to get to here. That is
brace yourselves.
Because I would have wanted to say that the Continental was going to be the show title, but I might get outvoted here. Oh boy. Here we go. Who's going first?
I'm whatever. Go on, you guys go first.
Steve, you're the horror guy.
Okay, well, as long as you're sure. As long as you don't mind.
John, do you want to lead this off?
No, that's all right. That's fine. I'll listen to what Steve has to say, and then.
Oh man! All right. So now normally then, I normally talk about the movie. This is No One Will Save You, on Hulu in the US, and Hulu in the US, and then Disney Plus in the UK. In the US, it's 5.1 DTS HD or True HD.
Yeah. No, it's PCM 5.1.
Oh, okay. So in the UK, we get the Atmos. Blessing or a curse, you decide. So normally, I talk about the movie first, and then I talk about the home theater experience. For reasons that are about to become clear, I better talk home cinema first. So, video-wise, it's decent. It's not bad at all. A lot of it takes place at night. So there's a decent shadow detail. It's okay. I think this might push some non-calibrated displays or some lesser displays, because there are some sequences in this that are very dark. And I think if you haven't set it up right, you're going to miss quite a bit, especially towards the end. But generally it's good. There are some sequences where the main character is bathed in moonlight, and you can see sort of all the detail on her face, and also the rivulets of tears that are running down her cheek as well. And they look really good. And there's also a lovely shot in daylight where she's sat against a wall, and on that wall it's a medium shot where you've got grass in front, then you've got this big mural behind her of this woman with flowing red hair, and that looks really nice. And then it cuts to a close-up shot, and you can see all the detail on the brickwork. So video-wise is good. Audio-wise, the Atmos on it is actually really decent as well. The opening 20 minutes, of which I will talk more about in a moment, is an Atmos demo for me, where you've got things that are above her on floors above, but also something on the roof, and they sound different in the overheads depending on where they are. And there's a couple of nice pans from the front of the screen to the overheads and back again with various creature noises. So looks good, sounds really good, and that's about the end of where the good stuff is. So now we'll talk about the movie. Go on,
let me elaborate on that.
Yeah, go for it.
So, well, actually, let's ask John first, because John, you actually have this down as seeing it. Did you get to see it with Atmos?
I sure did. Do you not see my setup?
That's what we're asking about. So is it on Disney Plus? Did you get a VPN or
it is on UK Disney Plus?
Oh, okay. So you got a VPN?
Well, but yes, because those that have an Apple TV with iOS 17 will know that you can now run an onboard VPN.
Okay.
As part of the update. And so I did.
Did you compare them?
No. I watched the first minute on Hulu before the light went off in my head that said, hook this thing up to UK and see if you can watch it on Disney Plus. And that's what I did. So no, I didn't compare it at all. But I do agree with Steve. I thought the Atmos was actually pretty decent here.
Bless you.
Yeah. And audio video wise, yeah, I agree with everything there. I thought it looked good for a stream. I thought it sounded excellent. In the pitter patter of feet in hallways and on ceilings and attics or wherever they may be, the clicks, reminiscent of like Last of Us, were pretty cool. So I thought all that was great as well. Steve, DJ, you wanted to elaborate on something?
Yeah, so I watched it. Where's my image? We'll just go with that one. I think it's pretty much the same one, if that isn't my image. The 5.1 PCM on this was horrendous.
Really?
It was too low. But it actually, when I figured it out, like Steve and I were talking earlier, or in the show, I think we were talking earlier, where Steve was like, I had to check my speakers. I had to check my subs. I got up and I'm moving around the room and I'm checking to make sure my subwoofers are on. I'm putting ears up to rear channels and stuff. And I'm like, are my left and right out? Is like, what is going on? It was horrendous. So I turned it up, and Jen and I watched this together, and I turned it up to +10.
Oh, wow.
And Jen was like, oh, okay, that's good. So it wasn't at +10. It wasn't too loud for her. So to give you an idea, Jen had, like, when I watch something at reference, she'll be like, can you turn that down? I don't like that. So I'll back it off to -5, and she's fine. So you can this is probably 15 dB too low. Once I did that, it sounded really good. Okay. But it was just on Hulu with that 5.1. And this is one of those ones, like Steve and I talked earlier, where you got to check your other stuff. So I went back to the Continental and watched some scenes, which is the exact same codec. It's the PCM 5.1. Right. And I was like, oh my God, turn it back down to reference. Cause you're like, oh crap. It's, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think we're getting the same thing. It's just Hulu's it's dialed way, way back, and you've got to bump it up, because typically, and that's what's interesting, is typically when you bump something up, it bumps everything up, right? And it doesn't sound as dynamic. It's just everything's loud. This actually did sound pretty good when you bumped it up. So I agree with you on everything. I think it'd be interesting. Maybe I'll throw a VPN on there and do that and actually compare the Atmos to this 5.1 with the bumped up audio and see where it is. But as a home theater experience, I thought it was really good.
I went to 0. I watch it -6 most things.
Oh, okay.
But I did go to I usually go to 0 on streams because they tend to run a little bit lower than a disc.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at 0, so quote unquote reference or +6 to reference, depending on what you subscribe to. I thought it would. I mean, it was like I had a disc on. I mean, it was pretty loud,
Yeah.
So I mean, if I had gone to +15 on this, I wouldn't have been able to watch it.
Oh yeah.
Plus
Yeah,
10, whatever,
it doesn't. The Atmos, the Disney Plus Atmos version does not need bumping much more than normal. So then should we talk about the movie briefly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oops. Yeah, it's right. This is needed outro, John. This is like nothing else to say. Yeah.
Oh God,
we are still live. Just checking.
We are still live. Yes,
yeah.
we
Okay.
are still
Good.
live. The guys didn't know that was coming.
So there's a little bit of momentary panic.
I'd like to preface this with we are the bright side.
Yeah, no, I know.
This is going to be. I think this might be a first.
Three-way, not that kind of three-way. So it's gone midnight here. I saw this only because 2 people in the chat and others over the weekend suggested that I really had to see it. Otherwise, I was going to skip this because I saw the trailer, liked the trailer right up until the point where it said PG-13. And then I thought, right, I don't need to see this then. It's going to be rubbish because that's not horror to me. But people over the weekend was like, Steve, you've got to see it. Stephen King said it was original.
So did
really good. Guillermo del Toro, said it's fantastic. So I thought, right, well, I've got to watch it. And I watched it, and notwithstanding how good it looked and sounded, I thought it was awful. And I found that the creatures, spoiler free, but with the CGI on the creatures was dreadful. And so unimaginative. I was kind of thinking to myself,
seeing that alien.
My wife said
that's the alien from the bumper stickers on,
Yeah. You know what my wife kept saying? You know what my wife kept saying? And she's not like this at all. She's like, Gollum likes to do this. Gollum likes to You're quoting Gollum.
But it's just the same design. It's the same.
Yeah, well, I thought that what had happened is I was envisaging someone, because obviously it's a Fox movie. Disney have just we've lost John. It's a Fox movie. Disney have bought Fox, and I could see someone in the basement of Nakatomi Plaza, coming across a memory stick marked X-Files Season 1.
Yeah,
and sort of looking at that and thinking, right, well, tell you what, we've got an alien thing coming up. Let's just use that CG. That'll be all right. And giving it to the director, and the director going, yeah, well, we'll give it to ILM. They'll make that properly now, won't they? And these guys going, no, just use that. And that's how it kind of. I just thought it is an X-Files episode from the 90s with the 90s CG, and just it was crazy. And what I found, and we were talking before the shows, I'll very quickly mention it as well, is that the lack of dialogue was a gimmick, which I think did not serve the story. So the bit that when she walks into the police station and is confronted by 2 people and they just go, ugh. Right. And then she looks at them and goes, ugh, and walks out was laughable. And so, and then something in a review that I read, and I'm going to horrendously plagiarize it because it works exactly as to how I feel about it. It's a review from RogerEbert.com, just so I'm not plagiarizing it for real. Is that the person says it is affected by its lack of narrative context. Yeah, well, quite poor, yeah. The lack of narrative context. So the story doesn't flow and make any sense. And so to me, it felt like it was hiding a lack of imagination and understanding. So with the terrible CGI, the story making no sense. And this is all before you get to that ending. It was dreadful. And I said to Deej before the show, I was counting the minutes until it ended on my phone. It was like, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. Oh, thank God for that. It's over. And it was only an hour and a half long. It felt like about 2.
Yeah. So I kept asking myself, what do the aliens want?
Yeah, well, we never know.
What do they want?
Yeah.
Like,
right?
Why are they here? What do they want? Like, and we don't know at the end of the movie. any more than we did at the beginning of the movie. Are they here for our resources? Are they trying to take us over? Are they like, what do they want? You know, and like, do they want to kill her or do they not want to kill her? Because they're very aggressive towards her.
Yeah. I think they're looking
I
for
don't wanna
Mulder and
spoil- I don't wanna
Scully.
spoil it too much, but
I get the story.
I
I
just
told
didn't
Steve
understand
before.
what they wanted at the end of the day. Like, why did they make the trip here?
We could have used that information a little bit. I mean, I thought the same thing, but I just thought that I got the ending. I actually I told Steve, I don't want to spoil it for anybody else, but Steve and I were talking before the show. I kind of like the subtext to it. I like the story, the little, what little bit there was. But what I found is that I'm like, it was just like the scene Steve mentioned, and then like Paul saying the flying I put it up on the screen earlier, but Paul saying, how about the CGI on the flying saucers? If they actually used actual saucers, it would have been more realistic. It took such a long time to get to the end and tell this part of the story that it was like such small world building, but then it just took forever. And then on top of that, like John, like what you were saying, I said this to Steve before the show. I'm like, these aliens traveled across the universe and got stuck in a Subaru.
Right.
And like with the door open.
Right.
Like, what the hell? Like, they don't know what fire is? They don't know. Like, I mean, it was literally like that scene in the Subaru was like, how do you trap a monkey? You put the banana inside the cage and it won't let go. It's like literally is what it was. And you're like, but these are supposed to be smarter beings that can travel across the universe, but then get stuck in a 2004 Subaru.
Yeah. And Mark says in the chat saying, I think it's supposed to be more creepy than horror because it deals with the unknown.
It's hard to be creepy when you're laughing.
Well, I think for the first 20 minutes, I think it does do that. I think it does try to try and give you the sense of otherworldly, something weird's going on. But then it shows you the creature, and then that's it. It all goes out the window. It doesn't follow the Jaws or the Alien mold, which is don't show the creature till the end, where it shows you straight away, and then again it becomes a joke because it's so terrible. And so I don't think it does try to deal with the unknown. It actually shows more than it tells, and in showing it takes all that tension away. And I mean, I know Paul says, how many Close Encounters references did you spot? My goodness, this movie is a jigsaw of every other sci-fi alien movie you've ever seen. There's A Quiet Place in here. There's Signs. There is Nope. You name it. There are multiple other movies in this. Yeah. And this is why I was surprised when Stephen King said it's all really, it's so original. No, it's not.
No.
I'm not sure there's an original thing in this.
Yeah, and that's why I wasn't as enamored with the Atmos as you guys were, because I've done that scene from A Quiet Place so many times in the last couple weeks, which is a great iconic scene. But then here, it's like I literally thought that watching the movie. Plus, I mean, it was fresh in my head, and it's so well executed, physical media versus streaming, and you're like, huh. And I get what you're saying. I agree with you. It's a great home theater streaming experience, but you have to quantify it as such. But then that scene, like you just said, Steve, it's like, okay, that was the Quiet Place scene. It's I mean, literally the scene, the clicking, the everything. You're like, come on.
All the way through. I mean, when there's a thing where she's walking away from the bus and there's something walking behind her, and I'm thinking, oh, that's from It Follows. I only reviewed that last week. I really enjoyed that. Oh, I think I'd rather be watching that. And it's all the way through. The whole movie just seems to be made up, a jigsaw of other films. And when all those films are better, like Signs and everything else, you're thinking, I'd rather be watching those.
Here's the other thing, Mark, and we went through this with Evil Dead Rise. DJ, you need it explained to you. That's not a good sign for a movie. But here's the funny thing, Mark.
No, what you said.
I got this one. Right. No, I said you shouldn't have to, LOL, but it makes more sense. But here's the thing. I got the movie. I actually explained it to my wife. I understood the movie. Then I went and looked up and went, okay, I'm on the right track. I understood it. It just took way too long for us to get there. And it was, the lack of dialogue, I think, really hurt them. They went for something, and I think that's what Stephen King's going for. I think that's what they're trying to be a little bit more artsy, and I get it. Hey, try it. You know, I don't blame you for trying, but I just think that part there, I think it really kind of failed, especially like you said, Steve, with the, and you're like,
That's
what
weird.
the heck? Yeah.
Yeah.
Way too long of a payoff to get there. So, but a home theater experience, it's good. And I do like that, you know, it's such, it does feel like it's a very polarizing movie where you either love it or you're literally like, that's, like my wife said, that's the worst movie she's ever seen. So it's like, and I like that. I like that in art, right? It's like you either love it or hate it, like Evil Dead Rise. I'm like, no, I don't ever want to see it again. And you guys are like, that was great. And Steve, you'll probably watch it 3 times in October, but that's fine. That's
Tomorrow afternoon.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's so. That was, how did we do on that? Did we do okay? Our viewership dropped precipitously.
I know. I felt bad for not liking it because everybody seems to love it, but I didn't get it.
Can you imagine how I felt?
I don't.
I'm like, here we go again. And I was saying to Jen the entire time, because when we saw it, you guys hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't bring this up. I can't do that. I can't bring it up on the show. And then Steve added the picture, I think. And then John added the picture. And I was like, here we go. I'm dead.
Well, I was always going to watch it before the show. Like I had kind of decided on Thursday or Friday because people were already talking about it. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get to it, you know, before Tuesday.
Yeah.
I just happened to be the last one to get there, but yeah.
I would have quite happily skipped it. It was only the chatter and the talk over the weekend, and people, you know, again, Mark's one of them. He's good as gold, and you know, I don't, you know, have a problem with people recommending stuff. I don't like it. It's fine. It's still, you know, good of someone to if they like something to recommend it, give it a go. That's great. So I don't hold it against anybody. But I wouldn't have seen it but for the chatter, and then having seen it, first 20 minutes, I was there. I'm thinking, okay, it's not new. This is not clever, but I'm enjoying the surround sound.
Atmos,
You know, and then after that, unfortunately, it just fell apart for me. I wasn't going to turn it off, but I wasn't a million miles away. But there we go. Mark says they can't all be winners or Evil Dead Rise. See, well, they should try to be, though, Mark. That's what I'm saying.
No.
No, they should. Evil Dead Rise. I'll be quite happy with that. Every film can be like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We don't have a show then. It's like it's all over. It's like, all right. We had so much fun this week. 3 we didn't get to, and we'll shout them out now. So Steve has The Flash. I watched scenes from that as well. We have Red Eye 4K Ultra HD on Kaleidoscape with DTS Master Audio 5.1. Oh, Flash 4K HDR Atmos Movie of the Year. Remember, home theater movie of the year. But we also have Unhinged, Russell Crowe, 4K HDR, Atmos. We'll be talking about those next week, the Carl Ellsworth specials. So listen to Takeover Tuesday. You'll hear Carl Ellsworth interview Steve and I. And then after that, you can hear Steve and I. We'll tell you all about the stuff we wanted to ask him. But we had so much fun talking home theater.
That's great.
But we'll get to that next week. I am going to start my month of horror as well. My choice, stop sending in the choice. I'm done with suggestions for horror. Let me enjoy October.
If you want some more, Deej.
So I also have my scene already picked for next week. I mentioned it on Takeover Tuesday, I think. Or I didn't mention it, but I said I was going to do it this week, but we couldn't even get time. We didn't even get time for all the stuff we have. So we're going to have a backlog, guys. We're having too much fun. We're cutting parts of the show out and we still can't make it.
Yeah.
What the hell? Come on, guys. Can you tone it down and not be
Well,
so
I wasn't here for
enthusiastic?
45 minutes to rein you guys in, so go.
I know.
what was happening for those 45
So
minutes.
yeah, I will be at 8:00 for anybody that's a Patreon supporter of Youth Man. I'll be joining him on that. He has a Zoom call at 8:00 tonight. I'll probably be a little late because we're a little late. I got to eat my dinner. But I can't tell you how great he's been to us, to John, Steve, and I, helping us behind the scenes at any time. So anything I can do. And I go to these Zoom calls and I try not to be like, hey, Brightside Home Theater. I just want to be a guy in the room, right? Because I don't want to be like trying to promote myself. But he really doesn't care. He's trying to build a home theater community just like us. He's just doing it like 10 times better, if not more. He's just doing a great job. And he's just been great to us. So I'll be over there. If any of you are Patreon supporters, if you're not, consider it. Great guy, great thing to support. And he has tiers. I think $5 a month gets you into the Zoom calls. I think that's what I'm at. And, but yeah, it's really cool. So I'll be over there. Also, we'll be doing our Zoom call, which I obviously stole from Youth Man. We'll be doing our Zoom call next Tuesday night after the show on Patreon. Zoom at 8:00 next Tuesday night, because I have a hockey meeting on Monday night, so I have to move it to Tuesday night. So, but yeah, thank you to all the Patreon supporters. And if rate, review, subscribe, YouTube, hit the subscribe button if you're not already doing it. If you're watching on YouTube, it's in the bottom right corner over here, down. See, I can't point right. Over by John, yeah, over by John to John's. I think it would be his right. I think something like that. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, subscribe, because then we'll have 24 hours of HT. That'll be fun. So, you guys all done? Anything else you guys want to say?
No,
Thank you to everybody. We'll be back next week with so much more, because it's already backed up. So what do you got to do till then?
Go push play.
What he said.
That's right. And we are out of here.